Okay, it's recording.
Yay. We figured it
Recording. Did you hit record too?
out. It did. I'm also recording.
Okay, good. All right, hello everybody. Welcome to Spiritual Growth Journeys. And today I have with me the beautiful, awesome Gila, who's in New York, right?
Yes.
Yes, and the reason I had Gila back on my show, well, I'd love to have Gila on my show all the time because she's just such a beautiful soul. But the reason I had her on today is because I've been very emotionally distraught over a lot of things, whether it's what's going on in the Middle East between, and I'm going to be really careful what I say because I don't want my channel taken down. So I'm going to use code language. Okay, everybody. But between the country that has letter I and the country, the other one next door to it, in that strip of land, where they're fighting, that's been upsetting, of course, that whole thing. And then now this thing in Brooklyn. And the biggest thing I'm upset about is what is going on the internet. The internet has turned into a shit fest. And the first thing I want to do, though, before I start yakking with my mouth here, is I want to place protection around this video because, as I was explaining to Gila, I've been under so many attacks. It's ridiculous. And I do not want my videos to get seen by who they shouldn't be seen by. So we're going to call in protection right now. So I invite in Archangel Michael into the space and time. I invite in the heavenly host, my guardian angels, Gila's angels, and the angels of every person who is watching this video now, everybody who watches this video. I ask that we are all surrounded and protected with multi-layered, multi-shields of protection in this video, during this video, that this entire video is protected and shielded from the dark. I ask for a cloak of invisibility to be placed on this video so that it is only seen by those people who will benefit from it and are of the light and of God and worship love and are mostly service to others. I ask that every person watching this video is protected and safe at all times. I ask that the space that Gila and I are sitting in is surrounded and protected in multi-layered shielding of protection across all time, spaces, places, dimensions, parallel realities, and universes. We do not consent to any interference from negative beings, negative entities, negative energies, government, military, dark, whoever. We do not consent to any of that. We only consent to the highest frequency of love and light filling this video now. Thank you. And so it is. Okay. All right. So that's what we're doing. And then you have this powerful, beautiful picture behind you. I love that. That's awesome. I have a snow sky back there behind me in the window because we've got snow all over the ground.
That's crazy. Here we have like a dusting in New York. We were supposed to get a huge blizzard, nothing.
Wow. Well, the first thing I'm going to say is to all the people out there who bitch and complain about my lighting and how I look and blah, 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 blah. I have a house full of people today. And so I'm sitting in my bedroom in a corner here on a chair because so the lighting is going to suck. Sorry, too bad. My equipment even sucks. My camera sucks. It's not a good camera because all of my equipment is in my office because I have guests in my house. So if you're going to bitch and complain, I don't want to hear it. I'm going to delete your comment. So sorry that the lighting, I have all these people who come on saying stuff, oh, the camera and oh, the lighting and oh, the this. And I would love to have them come to my house and set up the stuff and do the work for me. They love to bitch about it, but let's see them put their money where their mouth is. They can get on a plane, come over to
Doing
my
our
house,
best,
do it.
right?
Yeah, I'm not a techie person, so too bad, so sad. All right, so I have Gila here because I've been very emotionally upset over the fact that I have a heck of a lot of people in my life who are Jewish, who are amazing people. They're all beautiful, amazing people. They worship God, the creator, the same one that I worship. They would never even fathom harming a child or doing anything. But yet every time something happens in the news involving Jewish people, everybody in the patriot truther community and spiritual community start attacking all the Jews. All the Jews are bad. They're all Khazarians. They're all this. They're all that. Khazarian Jews is not even, first of all, they're not even Jews. They worship Satan and Lucifer, number one. They're not even Jews. They're hiding behind the Jews and using the Jews as a shield to hide behind. The real Jewish people on this planet who I know, and of course I've been Jewish in the past. I mean, my last incarnation, I was in a scene with Yeshua, okay? And Yeshua was a Jew, all right? Do you think that that group of Jewish Essenes was harming children? Hell no. They weren't doing anything like that. And the majority of Jews that have ever walked this planet have just been religious, God-fearing people. I mean, they're taught from birth that, God is always watching you and you're going to get punished if you commit, a sin. If you do anything like that, you're going to get punished. And, they're very respectful people. But yet here it is in the truther community, and they're spreading the stuff from the Talmud saying that Jewish people are following these laws that tell you to rape 3-year-olds and blah, 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 blah. That's a bunch of crap. That's all a bunch of crap. And so I want Gila to chime in, because we had this thing happen in Brooklyn with the tunnels, and they have a statue outside of the tunnel of an alligator with a coat grabbing children. And so then they're putting all that together and saying all of these people that are with the Chabad are all, trafficking children and raping them and killing them. Now, are there rabbis who do this? Absolutely. I know that for a fact, because they're also priests. They're also ministers, and they do this. I want you all to understand. All of the religions are corrupt. People, listen to me. Get this through your head. Every religion is corrupt. Islam, corrupt. Judaism, corrupt. Christianity, Catholicism. The people at the top are the corrupt ones. The people at the very bottom who are going to church every week or synagogue every week and worshiping God, they have no clue what's going on. They're clueless. They just think they're worshiping God, and they're just normal people that are family people having a life. It's these people in power, the ones in power who do the sick, twisted, disgusting, perverted shit on the planet. Okay? Because all of these religions were all created to control and manipulate humanity. The reason that Christ came to the planet in the first place was to abolish all the religion. He didn't even want Judaism. He wanted everybody on earth to have a personal relationship with the creator, Hashem. It's all about Hashem. It's all about creator. It's all about Mother, Father, God, who made our souls. That is what it is all about. It is all about us having a walk with God every day, every minute of our lives, constantly walking with God. And we are not supposed to have religions. Religions are all dogma and doctrine made up by men, not even women. All of these religions treat women like shit. Women are crap in all of these religions. Women are not allowed to be the top priests and the top this and the top, except in the born again Christian church. You have women pastors like Joyce Meyer and, people like that that are famous. But even those guys are corrupt. They make millions of dollars. They're stealing money from their parishioners. They're even bad. Your Joel Osteens and all that live in $100 million houses and have yachts and travel all over the world in private jets and take all that money from their people, right? So all of these religions are corrupt, all of them. It is not okay to go and throw all of your Jewish neighbors and friends and Jews on social media under the bus just because evil things are happening. And the Jews, ever since Hitler walked the earth, Jews keep getting scapegoated over and over and over. And it's like, what do you people learn? Do you not learn anything? I mean, the whole reason that we even still talk about the Holocaust to this day is so that we won't repeat that again. But yet it's being repeated right now. In fact, there's a whole bunch of people that are proving that all this stuff that is happening right now that is being put into place by our own US government is exactly the same as what went on at the beginning of the Holocaust. Exactly the same, when they were about to murder all those people. And they didn't just murder 6 million Jews, they murdered 6 million Catholics and priests. They murdered nuns. They went in and they threw all the priests and nuns in and executed them. They murdered Russians. They went into Russia. I had a friend who his family escaped from St. Petersburg, which became Leningrad, of course, under communism. Her grandparents were buried alive. They weren't even Jewish. They went and they surrounded St. Petersburg and they murdered millions of people, of Russians. They didn't care. They murdered all of the Nazis murdered the crippled people, the blind people, the elderly people, anybody who didn't support Hitler, anyone who didn't support Nazism or fascism, they were murdered. There were a lot of people murdered. The Jews were just used as a scapegoat because what people don't understand about Hitler is he wasn't a human, he was a reptilian. He was an actual reptilian shapeshifter. And the reason he murdered 12 million, he murdered exactly 12 million people. He did that to conjure demons because he was told he had to sacrifice 12 million people in order to conjure these demons. And so that's what he did. And he went after the Jews first because he needed to use somebody as a scapegoat to create a reason to murder people in the first place. He had to create like a reason to murder people. So he decided to pick the Jews. Why? Because he hated his mother. His mother was a Jew and he hated her for multiple reasons. So he decided, I'm going to annihilate the Jews first, and then the cripples, and then the this and the that. But he needed to sacrifice 12 million people so that he could open a portal. He opened portals to hell, several of them, and he conjured lots of demons into this world. This world flooded with demons after he murdered those 12 million people. So that is the reason for the true purpose of the Holocaust was so that Hitler could open portals to hell, conjure demons. He wanted to have the ultimate power, and he wanted to take over the whole planet, which he succeeded in because he never even died. He never even died. He lived. He went down to Antarctica and they hid down there. They hid in Argentina. They found, I've even seen a TV show about this. They have a TV show with all the proof of all of the bunkers in Argentina and all of the people that are still alive that were young then. They were little young, but they remembered their parents helping the Nazis that all set up down there in Argentina and all that. You know, he survived. And we know who his granddaughters are. They're very famous, politically powerful people. His bloodline is still in power to this day. Okay. This is not over, people. This is not ended. The whole Holocaust, the stuff is still going. The Nazis are still in charge of this planet. That's who's running this planet, because the Nazis are the cabal. That, you know, they're all part of the cabal, you know, and that is who's running it. So I wanted Gila to come on and talk about, because you all are spreading these posts around that say that the Talmud has all of these clauses in there that say it's okay to have sex with 3-year-old girls and rape them and kill children and murder children that are not Jewish and rape women who are not Jewish, and that all of that is okay. And I want, because Gila is Orthodox, right? You're Orthodox. And she studies, Gila is one of the most intelligent women I know. And she's a lot like me because both of us read, study. I'm constantly a student. I'm constantly, my whole life, I just thirsting for more knowledge. Several days ago, Yeshua called me precocious. He was talking to me, and he said, ever since we've known you, you've always been a precocious spirit. That's what he said to me. Yeah, he said, you've always been precocious. He said, you need to know the answer to everything, Kimberly. You always have to have the answer to everything. And I said, yep, that's me. I agree. And he said, they love that about me, but it also was kind of, I can be a pain in their ass too on the other side, because I'm like, but why? But what? I'm like this kid in the backseat that says, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? That's me, except I'm asking all these questions. I'm asking him all the time. But why this? But why do we have to do that? But why, what? You know, I'm constantly asking questions, and you are like me. You are always thirsting for knowledge, Gila, and going after all the information. And also your friend, Kabbalah Guru, he's the same way too, just constantly asking the questions, looking for answers, seeking out answers. You know, this is what we do. And so I know for a fact that all of these religions are full of a lot of dark stuff. They've all been changed from what they were originally intended to be. They've been infiltrated by dark forces and they've been messed with. And even the books, like the Holy Bible, which originally had 777 books, they removed 711 of them. And then what they had left, they rewrote it over and over again. And it was rewritten each time a new king came in England or France or anywhere like that. They would rewrite the Bible based on what they wanted the people to know. And so that information has been rewritten and rewritten and rewritten, especially the New Testament of the Bible has been rewritten over and over and over again. So I want you to tell everybody what you think is going on over there in Brooklyn, what actually happened. If you can talk about what you know, what you think is going on, and what we need to do to move forward. And I want also to talk today about the fact that what we're really supposed to be focusing on, because I have some notes here that I wrote. Let's see. But I really want to talk about, the fact, first of all, people need to know there's 5 types of Judaism. There's Reform Judaism, Conservative Judaism, Orthodox, Hasidic, Kabbalah, mysticism, and then there's different sects within those. And the people who are in the news right now, they're just one sect and they are the most radical. They're equal to radical Islam as far as I'm concerned. Okay, where women are wearing,
No,
in
I
some
don't agree
ways,
with that.
but
I don't agree with
don't
that.
think they are. Okay. So that's just my opinion. Is there is all of those radicalized people are very similar. They might not be the same, but I think they're very similar. And I still think that women are second class citizens in most of these religious, things. So I'm going to let you talk and tell everybody. I'm going to shut up and let you tell everybody what you think has been going on and what is going on, and just get your opinion on all this.
Okay, so I loved your summary, Kimberly. That was really well spoken, especially the part about Hitler. That gave me a lot of clarity that, his goal was to open that portal and deliver the burnt sacrifice. It makes sense in the context of what's going on now. I don't agree with you about the Hasidim is because they brought back the joy to Judaism and the fervor and the worshiping of God through the heart space. So that's their fanaticism. And in terms of Jews, a Jew is a Jew is a Jew. Even though we have labels on us, I think it was even the Lubavitcher Rebbe who's like, there's just one Jew. And even though they practice differently, we're not divided. I think it was Reb Moshe Feinstein also who said that very famous rabbi who lived not that long ago, who lived on the Upper East Side of New York, Reb Moshe Feinstein, that he wouldn't call himself Orthodox because he said we're all just Jews without labels. So why I think at the heart of this, Kimberly, at the heart of this, Jewish people were in contract with Creator to be handed the Torah. And it's coming up in this week's Parsha that we crossed, this week's Torah portion, that we crossed the Red Sea into the wilderness, received the Torah. This happened over 3,000 years ago, 3,334 years ago. And what is the Torah? It is the only thing that humanity has received that crossed from the upper worlds into the lower worlds. It was a divine gift, and it carries the most light in creation. That is why the Jewish people are public enemy number 1. Always happen with the target on our back by the Satanist enemy, because they smear who they fear. This is what the godless narcissist does.
I agree.
They create smear campaign against those who do they fear the most now? The Chabad in 770, because they're creating a smear campaign in the news that these people who built tunnels, they labeled a tunnel. It wasn't a tunnel. It was an expansion underground. It wasn't a tunnel. What they wanted to do was heed the call of the Lubavitcher Rebbe from 30 years ago, who wanted his shul, his synagogue, expanded because there wasn't enough room for all the people. And it got held up. He got sick. He passed away. It got held up in court by the powers that be of Chabad, who I think have been hijacked. That's controversial for me to say, but I do think the powers that be, the administration, the Chabad.org, has been hijacked because, how do I know? Because they went along with the program of 2020. So that for me is the ultimate filter of understanding who has been co-opted by the other side. Okay, either through government funding, whatever their reason is, they have been co-opted.
Yeah,
okay, so they're taking these boys who wanted to fulfill the holy word of the Lubavitcher Rebbe and make this space larger for more people to come and pray. And they start plastering it in the news. These are tunnels. This has to do with this, because who is at the heart of that is the same enemy that wants to smear the Jew, especially the Jew who sits and learns Torah all day. This is their mortal enemy. This is who Satan is terrified of. They're terrified of the Jew who sits and learns Torah in the original Hebrew. The Torah was given in Hebrew. How do you know that like you said when you were speaking, how do you know that the second, what do they call it? The Second Testament? Why am I forgetting?
The New
New
Testament.
Testament.
Yeah.
It was written in Greek.
Yeah.
Okay? It's not written in the holy language. It's called Lashon HaKodesh. It's the same letters that God used. And these letters are mystical. The letters themselves carry holiness. The Hebrew letters, Aramaic and Hebrew, have extreme holiness. So this is what they're terrified of. So we see in the enemy has infiltrated every community, even the truth community, because they're still at that same game of pin the tail on the Jew.
Right.
Pin the tail on the Jew, because I saw Crash the Matrix, this woman Stacy, who I love and I still follow, but she couldn't wait to post her memes of men in black hats with payas sitting around eating pizza, you know, on the streets of Brooklyn. And I'm like, they jumped within 10 seconds of the headlines. They had the memes ready. What does that tell me? It tells me that this invisible enemy has reached its tentacles throughout the truther community, and the same truth community who understood that there's two camps right now. There's people who are for God and people who are for Satan. Conveniently forgot that when it comes to Jews, the same rule applies. That we no longer label blacks. We don't label Muslims. We don't label Christians. We label into two camps right now. Are you for God or are you for the other side? In Judaism, we call it the Sitra Achra, the other side. So when I see that kind of forgetfulness in the truth community, that are you either a patriot or a traitor? You know, they can remember, are you a patriot or a traitor? Those are the two camps. Yeah. And the same thing on a spiritual realm, you're either a patriot for God or you're a traitor to God. Nothing to do with any label. So if they're still smearing the Jew, they have been hijacked by the consciousness of the other side, and they're inadvertently working for the wrong team and giving energy. Okay, so that's what I want to say. Thank you.
100%.
Thank you.
100%.
Okay, that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, I am so, in fact, thank you for saying it that way. Like you put it so perfectly. I could never have verbalized it that way. That is so perfect. You know,
thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, who do you stand for? I don't care what religion that you say that you're under. Who the hell do you stand for? Do you stand for God, Hashem, or do you stand for Satan and Lucifer? Who do you stand for? Seriously, look at Hollywood. It's obvious who they all stand for. Most of them. There's a few of them that are on the good side who have gotten out of that, who are telling on them, you know, like your Mel Gibsons, and you know, there's a few people out there that have pulled away from Hollywood that are ratting out the rest of them, but the rest of them are on the side of Lucifer and Satan, you know. So
and even that was hard for me, because when I was first red pilled and I found out about Hollywood, I immediately put all actors in that category. But I'm like, that's not fair of me, because I'm sure they don't all deserve that label.
They're not all
right. It's the same crime that, you know, we really have to get exquisitely crystal clear on understanding that there's only one division right now: who is for God and who is not for God. And that's who humanity is. Humanity needs to unite under that umbrella. And even higher than that, Kimberly, is to understand that God created this situation of duality, that the evil actually propels us closer to God. And in that situation, when you're at the highest understanding, you thank them. Thank you for pushing me to God. Your job is done. Go back to where you came from.
Right. Well, you know, what people don't understand too, and I mean, it's in my book, Ascension 101, it's all about, why do you incarnate on Earth in the first place? This is a third density school. Everything in 3D, in the third dimension, actually, because dimension's the location, density is a consciousness. All of the planets, whether you're from Series B, Lyra, Arcturus, Pleiadians, all those galactic people, we all live in what's called the third dimension, and all third dimensional planets are where souls from heaven go into an avatar body to have learning experiences. Every single star, planet, spaceship, they're all classrooms. They're all classrooms. And we come here to be in a classroom, but originally before the demiurge and before all of the bad guys took over the planet, 90% of the experience on earth was good and 10% was evil, to push you towards God. Because in my book, Ascension 101, I talk about the 4 purposes of your soul. Your soul has specific purposes when God creates it. And one of those is to grow closer to God. And the other one
I
is
say
to
the same
learn.
thing, Kimberly. This is why we're sisters.
Yeah.
I say it in a little different language. I say we come to a free will planet to use our free will to choose God in a place where we could not see him, and
Yes.
earn
Yes.
the relationship
Yes.
for ourselves.
Yes.
God is so good that he gives us the opportunity to earn the love affair with him for ourselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm getting tingles all over my head when you're saying that, but it's, we come here to grow closer to creator. That is why we come here.
Period.
And yeah, and so you have this opposition going on, this evil, whatever you want to call it, duality, and the duality should push a normal soul, healthy soul, towards God. That is the way it should be. But then you've got this group that has decided to totally turn their back on God and become what we call antichrist. And I've told that before over and over to people, that that's another thing going around social media right now that we need to clear up. And I've tried to clear it up over and over. They keep saying, oh, this particular person that has letters BO is the Antichrist, or this person over here is the Antichrist. No, there is not one Antichrist. What Yeshua explained to me is Antichrist is an energy, frequency, and vibration of Antichrist. And it's a group of people. The first one was Emperor Constantine. He was the first Antichrist. When he set up his whole Christian religion, that's not the way it was supposed to be. The religion that was spread around the world, sorry, my throat's dry because the heater keeps coming on. The first religion spread around the world was not this Christianity that we know today. It was the teachings of Christ, and it was called the Way. It was called the Way.
I'm going to quote I'm going to quote not the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Kabbalah guru, who said once, if Jesus were to come back today, he would come back a Jew. And then I add to that, he would come back a Jew and he'd say, what the hell are you worshiping me for? I came to show you to go straight to creator, not to use an intermediary. Go straight. That's what I did. That's what he
Exactly.
did.
Exactly.
I'm saying I have this theory, Kimberly, that Jesus, and on some level, needs to be redeemed from this false narrative. Like his soul is trapped inside a false Christian narrative. And then what happened? The Jewish people, because the Christian religion made him an idol, because you need to get to the Father through the Son. That's idol worship. Because they did this to him, Jewish people had to make him anathema, had to make him the most taboo thing you could say in a Jewish party is Jesus. You can't say that word at a party. No, you'll shut the room down. So the response to the Christian religion forming was that the Jewish people had to make Jesus taboo. So I say Jesus needs to be liberated from both false narratives, that he wasn't a villain and he wasn't a deity. He wasn't a God. And when he's liberated, his memory can be cleared and he can be restored to the Jewish nation. And there's actually a rabbi out there, Rabbi Ariel Aloro, who is on a campaign to try to create what's called a pidion, a redemption ceremony for the soul of Jesus. And I'm all for it. I think that his name should be cleared. I think he has a klipa on him.
Too.
Yeah, right? You agree with me?
Well, it's why I wrote the book Walking with Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, because the whole story, because their story has been completely lied about and changed. And so I put the truth, and I have a whole chronological thing of who he was before he incarnated as the Christ, and every year from birth, what happened, it's a whole chronological thing in that book of what happened to him. And that's why that book why I wrote the book was to set the story straight about who he is and what he really brought here to teach, because he did not come here to get people to worship him. He came here to get everybody to worship Creator.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
And
that's
you
the
know what?
reason.
I see people like Linwood, like these huge patriots that are so under the Jesus spell.
Yeah, yeah.
And I see Mr. T doesn't really mention it. Do you ever
Mhm.
notice that he doesn't
Yeah.
really mention that person? He doesn't really mention Jesus that much.
He's it's interesting about that, because Mr. T is a fractal of Archangel Uriel. You know, that's number one. Number two, he's a time traveler. If you listen to the whole book on Baron T, you know, the adventures of Baron whatever, you know, yeah. It's obvious that because apparently his uncle got a hold of all of Tesla's technology and then passed it on to him, and he's time traveled. It is so
For
obvious,
sure.
it's
No question.
ridiculous.
You don't have
Yeah,
to convince me. I totally believe
yeah.
that.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
you have to do is get a copy of that book from the 1800s, that basically everything that's going on today is in that book. Everything, like word for word, is going on in those books that were written. So it's
And you
so
know what?
obvious that he time traveled.
I had such an existential crisis with like, because I know a lot of these people almost in real life. Like I know one of Trump's lawyers lives in my neighborhood, and like Ivanka like goes to the same visiting day at Camp Morisha, and like I'm like, how could these everyday people be the same people that are doing these like interdimensional things? And my friend Ani gave me such a great answer. She's so brilliant. She said to me, just like you have so many parts of yourself that are hidden, some are revealed, and some are, you know, these people have the everyday parts in themselves that are changing diapers, that are going on vacation. They're just regular people, but they also have these other parts. Because I would see Trump at rallies talking. I'm like, how could that guy also be that guy? That is, I had cognitive dissonance about it.
Yeah.
But she made me realize that everybody is complex, and some people show different, like me and you show the deeper side of ourselves because we can right now. But maybe for the greater reveal later on, Trump is hiding that part of himself. For the cause of the greater awakening of humanity, he has to play this more superficial role. But I'm like, how does he hold it in when he knows so much? How does he not just blurb it all out?
Yeah, it's, you know, he's a really strong human being. I mean, he's a very
Yes.
strong person, you know, he's very strong. But the thing is I noticed he doesn't go into religious rhetoric. He doesn't how do you want to say, start talking anything religion in any speech he gives. And the reason why is he has to be neutral,
Right.
because when you are of the angelic realm, or you are of that realm that's outside of the earth, you have to be in a place of neutrality at all times.
Interesting.
Yeah.
He does stay neutral. I guess they gave him permission to like insult the dark side because he loves doing that.
Yeah, he definitely is calling their bluff, is what
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it
yeah.
is. He's calling their bluff, but and yeah, he's going to do that because Uriel is a warrior angel,
Ah,
not
very
just, you
nice.
know,
Very
he's a
nice.
warrior. So Uriel, Ariel, they're warrior angels. You know, Gabriel's communication. Raphael is the healing guy. He's in charge of healing. And then you've got Michael, who's the head boss of everybody. So
Oh, you know what made me realize just now? That in the Kriya Shema, what we say right before bed in the Shema prayer, we say Mimini Michael. On the right is Michael, Mismoli Gavriel, Milfanai Uriel, who's in front of us is Uriel. And Trump literally put himself in between us and the deep state. He put himself in front of humanity.
Mhm.
And that's Uriel.
Yeah, he literally put himself in between us and them,
Yes,
almost like a shield. You know, he's
yes,
like a big shield. And the reason he glows, everybody calls him Orange Man bad. He has a glow, right? He does glow. If you look at him, he glows like a golden. Okay, well, if you look at any picture of Uriel, he's always glowing golden, because Uriel glows golden. That's what he looks like. You know,
love
that
it.
information came from psychics. There's a lot of psychic artists that have drawn Uriel in their idea of what he looks like, but Uriel glows a golden color, and so does Mr. T. He glows a golden color. So yeah, so there's that. But the thing is that I'm just sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of everybody scapegoating other people and pointing the finger when you need, in the Christian Bible, there's a thing that says for every finger you point, there's three back at you. There's three back at you. And the fact of the matter is, and what's that? Judge ye lest ye be judged. Judge ye not, whatever that is. Judge not lest ye be judged. It's always hard to say that because it's, that old fashioned terminology, but judge not lest ye be judged. What does that mean? We can't go around judging. You can't go around and point fingers at every Jew and saying, bad Jew, bad Jew, bad Jew. You can't do that. And just like I can't walk around, I left the Catholic Church between 7 and 9 years ago because it was a slow thing. It's like, really, I left it 9 years ago. I found out that they were all pedophiles and Satanists, and that they worship Lucifer at the Vatican. That's who they really worship. And that they have the dead bodies of, I don't know how many thousands of children under there in the catacombs that they'd murdered and sacrificed over time. Plus the fact that they murdered, I put a whole post on Facebook of all of people that the Catholic Church murdered. Did you know the Catholic Church is equal to 5 million Hitlers? Yes. The Catholic Church has murdered way more people in history than any dictator, any leader, any army, way more than the Roman Empire killed, way more than the Vikings killed. They've murdered more people. They murdered 200 million women. They went down to the south of France. They did the Albigensian Crusades. They burned alive and murdered almost 1 million women and children, mostly of the Cathars, which were the Christian version of the Essenes. They were basically the Essenes, the continuation in the south of France of the Essenes. They murdered all of them. They murdered millions during the Spanish Inquisition. They murdered millions of indigenous people. They went to Mexico. They murdered Aztecs and Incas and rainforest tribes and all kinds of stuff, because if they didn't convert to their Christianity, then they slaughtered them, and they slaughtered them anyway.
This is a huge red pill because 9/10 of the world is Christian. This is going to be the fattest, biggest red pill for the patriot community, is to understand how that consciousness has been hijacked, that religion's consciousness. And I also want to clarify, I don't consider Judaism a religion. I consider it a way of life abiding the Bible. Like, we do the physical activity that's written out in the Bible. We keep the Sabbath, we keep kosher, we keep the family purity laws. We're doing the physical activities put out, given to this nation. God said, this is what you're going to do. You will be a holy nation unto me by doing X, Y, and Z. So it's the fact that we take the mundane, everything we do, Kimberly, we have an intentionality towards God. I pick up this drink, I make a blessing. After I leave the bathroom, I make a blessing. I wake up, I make 10 blessings. It's all, our whole day is geared towards including divinity, including a God, a personal relationship with, because God created us as physical beings, and it is our job to elevate the physical, create a space for God. And when we create a space for God, we could actually invite the fifth dimensional reality in, because that's all that we're talking about, the same thing. In Judaism, we say the Yemos HaMashiach, the days of the Messiah are coming, but the New Age spirituality calls it the fifth dimension. We're all talking about the same thing, the same jump in consciousness, where God, instead of being hidden, will be revealed. That's it. And we try to reveal God in the physical world through including him, through blessing him, through walking with him, like you said earlier, through just, communing with him as we do the activities of daily life. So Judaism is not a religion, and Judaism has not been corrupted. Maybe the powers that be inside Judaism have been hijacked, but the actual act of Judaism is just the act of including God in everything you do and everywhere you go, in every interaction, every activity. So that's why I can look at Judaism not as a religion, but as a way of life.
Well, and we need to point out that that's the actual Jewish people who believe the way you do. The Khazarians, as they call them, do
Thank
not
you.
do that. They do not do that. That is a
And why
small
do you
group of
think
people who do not do that.
they, according to the lore, according to the story
Uh-huh.
that's told, they had a
Yeah.
choice. They could pick Islam, Christianity, or why do you think they chose to hide themselves in Judaism? Because Judaism was their biggest threat. And when you infiltrate, when you become the domestic enemy, you become the invisible enemy. And that was so brilliant of them to hijack Judaism and make the world hate Jews. Because then the world does the dirty work for them by killing the Jews, because they have made the Jews, you know, the blood libels. You ever heard
Public
of
enemy number one.
public
Right?
enemy? The blood libels. I remember learning about them in high school, where they would accuse Jews of baking blood into matzah, of drinking the blood of small. And I'm like, where are they getting this from?
Yeah,
Like,
where are they getting that
and
from?
then you
Yeah.
realize, oh, that's what the narcissist always accuses its victim of what he is
Of
doing
what they are doing.
to deflect. And then you're innocent, and you're like, what? Like, why would I? And then you get all defensive and you start to defend yourself. So that's why I'm like, I'm sick of defending myself. We know the truth. The enemy is being unveiled. We see the reveal of this, it's, as Trump calls, the invisible enemy. It wasn't COVID. It was actually the globalists. You know, that's we
Well,
see
they had that
like,
thing planned since the 70s. You know that,
oh
right?
yeah,
That
oh
they
yeah.
started planning that in the late 70s. There's actually TV shows and books that came out in 1978 talking about a CO, you know what, pandemic, you know, thing coming out of China, out of Wuhan. I mean, they described all of what went down. They described it in the 1970s. They had
Well,
already
that's what.
planned this for a long
Well,
time.
that's why I know Trump is a time traveler, because he made them, he trapped them in their timeline. That's Operation Warp Speed. He came in, they never thought Hillary would lose, right? They thought they had all the time in the world to unroll this plan. So they scrambled, and in scrambling, revealed themselves. That's the sting operation. He made them reveal themselves because they had to act fast.
So I have to tell everybody something. I just found this out. I watched a video and I asked if it was true, and I got a yes from my guy, my team, my boss. And that is, they said that he time traveled to the future initially and saw that Hillary had won for president, and that the whole world went into utter chaos and the whole country was destroyed. Everything is destroyed. That is when he decided to run for president.
Thank you. We love you, Donald Trump. We love you. We are grateful for you. Thank you
That's
for
when he
doing that.
decided to run. He decided to run
Because
because he
that
saw
man
the
has
future with what
sacrificed.
happens when she gets into office. The whole country wiped out, the whole world just destroyed.
I want you to
everything.
know, I was in this room. You see this room? The night that he got elected, I was up at the whole night. I couldn't sleep. And I wasn't a political person, but I understood, Kimberly, that night when he took Pennsylvania, which is my home state, I had a feeling in my body that the world stopped and reversed course. The world was spinning one way, and it stopped, it paused, and it went in. The moment he took Pennsylvania, I felt a shift. And I understood before I even understood, because I knew nothing at that point. My soul understood that that was the moment that we took back control from the evil ones.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I knew that there was a shift back in 2011 because I could feel it when we started entering into the you know, the ascension basically phase of this whole planet, because I was more involved with that than I've never been involved into politics. It's just never, because the problem is Yeshua told me that 98% of all politicians are corrupt. That's what he told me. He said 98% of them are corrupt.
Yeah, I believe that.
And so after he told me that, I've just never gotten into politics. It's hard for me to even pay attention to it because it's just a waste of my
So
time to me.
filthy, yeah.
Yeah.
But the politics is where this all gets. That's the arena where it all gets corrected, because that's how they controlled us through the political sphere and through the financial
Absolutely.
sphere. Once the whole system crashes, the central banking system, that's the moment we really are liberated as a planet, and it's imminent. That's at our door. So we celebrate, guys. We celebrate that moment. Don't forget to celebrate when you hear the stock market crashes. Woo!
I know. Once the stock market completely crashes, we know that we're 100% going to our new age, and
We're leaving Egypt.
everything is
That's
gonna.
the Red
Yep.
Sea moment. That's the
Mhm,
Red Sea moment. And that's this
mhm.
week's Parsha. So I'm praying, I'm pulling for it for this week. This week's Torah portion is when the Jews, God splits the sea. So the timing of that would be so divine. If the stock market crashed this week, man, that would be great. That would be great.
I feel something's coming soon. This whole year is going to be a roller coaster ride, and I just had my astrology done by a Thai astrologer, and I
Interesting.
never had that done before. And she basically said, well, you've been through 6 years of terrible, awful things. And that is true. It's just been awful the last 6 years. But as of January 9th, I entered 6 years of amazing, awesome things. And
Yay!
effective May 1st, she said, starting May 1, basically everything I think, say, and do is going to instantaneously manifest. So she said, I have to be really careful, even right now, what I'm saying, what I'm thinking, what I'm doing, because I'm manifesting it really fast. But as of May 1, it will be hyperdrive. Like I can literally go, there's now gold in my hand, and boom, there will be gold in my hand. Like that intense of
Well, this is
manifesting
what I
things.
learned when I just want to tell you, I've been learning the Zohar, this book,
Yeah.
the mystical Judaism, and I listened to this Rabbi Gozlan, and he was correlating exactly what you're talking about to the
Mm-hmm.
Schumann resonance. He said, as the Schumann resonance rises, the lag time between thought and manifestation shortens. So it's exactly what you're talking about.
Wow. Were you going to share a story from the Zohar? Remember, you said you were going to share. I want
Yeah,
you to
I have
share what you
actually have
said.
to, my daughter is calling me. I have to go in a couple minutes because she wants to go to the
Okay.
city. But you were telling me before we hit the record button that in your dreams you quantum travel and you save children and you can jump into bodies and rescue them at the last minute from
I can
whatever
control
danger.
them. Same way a demon does. So you know how demons can possess people? So can angels. An angel can jump into you and change your behavior to save your life. They can actually jump in and
Totally
save.
believe that because God has,
Yeah.
I heard this term unemployed angels just waiting, a sea of
Mm-hmm.
angels waiting for us to call on them. But it reminded me because I was reading the Zohar this morning on this week's Torah portion of Exodus, and it says, said Reb Isaac, how can I do this? Oh, a poor man had asked him for money. So he said, how can I do this, seeing that I possess no more than half a coin? Nevertheless, the poor man replied, two halves are better than one. So Rabbi Isaac took out his half a coin and gave it to the man. Later, Rabbi Isaac was sleeping, and he had a dream that he was walking by the sea in a strange place, and some persons wanted to throw him in. And he saw Reb Shimon stretch his hand to him. Reb Shimon, who wrote the Zohar, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, stretched out his hand to him, and the poor man who he had assisted came up and pulled him out. And we learn from this that blessed is he who gives money to the poor. The Lord will deliver him in his time of trouble. So that reminded me of like how in the dream state, I know that you quantum travel in the dream state and save lives. The same thing happened to this rabbi. He was about to be thrown in and drown. And this poor man jumped in and pulled him out. So it's just like there's so much more to reality. This is what it means to expand your consciousness, and this is the deepest secrets of the Torah. This is like what God gave Moses and was actually destroyed when he threw down the first set of tablets. That was the Zohar, and it was restored back to us by Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in a cave when he went into a cave when he was being persecuted by the Roman Catholics. He hid, and Moses came back to him. This was in the 1500s, I believe. Moses taught him the text that was lost, the secrets. These secrets were taught to this man, and he wrote them down in this book called the Zohar. And Moses was able to fulfill back the shattering of the first tablets by giving these secrets back again to humanity through the Zohar. So that's why I learned it, because I want to know the secrets. I want to know the story behind the story. And I want to know the angelic realm. I want to know what's happening all around us that we can't see, that you, Kimberly, can see and can wake up remembering, which, you're so rare. And I look forward to the day that I'm like you, that I can wake up and remember where I traveled that night
Yeah.
and where my soul has been.
Well, and then I have friends that show up and, and are able to collaborate or corroborate, whatever you want to say, that I'm
Mhm.
not crazy pants, because, you doubt yourself and go, was that just a dream or did that really happen? And then you have a friend who showed up there and you call them up on the phone and you go, were you just blah, blah, blah? And then they go, oh, yeah. Remember those gold mirrors that were all over the wall? And there's no way that they would have known that unless they were actually there. They had to have
Right.
been there.
Right.
And I've
God
had
gives you
this
the proof.
happen.
Right. When
Yeah,
you need
I've
the
had
proof,
this
God gives you
happen
the proof.
multiple times where I have a friend show up, in the astral. This is in what we call the astral realm, and they are there too. In fact, there's a lot of us that all meet up in the astral together. We all meet up and hang out in the astral, and then we can call each other the next day and say, did that really happen? Yeah, because remember when you blah blah blah, and everybody has the same memory. Everybody remembers that.
Yeah, no, I hope I can be a part of that club one day. I really hope my gifts come online.
Yeah, they will. They're going to. And yeah, decalcify your third eye and you'll get there. The
I hope
United
so.
States government has calcified the third eyes of everybody in this country, which is why, I tell people back in the day, you see these stories of these saints like Saint Teresa of Avila and all these different saints that had all these mysteries and magical, things happen, all these miracles happen. The reason why miracles happened is that was back in the day when people's third eyes were open. And so they experienced miracles every day. They were constantly experiencing miracles back in the day, but then they got shut off when they started dumping fluoride into all the water and putting chemicals in all the food and spraying chemtrails in the sky and toxins in our clothes and in our homes and in your cleaning supplies and just
Well, the
it was
Nazis, my grandmother my grandparents were survivors of Auschwitz, had numbers tattooed on their arms. The Nazis knew how to stop the women's periods. They put something in the water and the women stopped having their periods in the camp. Because I asked my grandmother, how do you deal with, having your period in the we didn't get our periods in the camps.
are you kidding?
No, they know Mengele was a doctor who
He
he
is
did
evil.
experiment. They
Yeah.
love to experiment on humanity because they're
Yeah.
not human. They are not human. So they want to get into our genes, and we know that.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta run,
Absolutely.
Kimberly. Thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, yeah,
I
I
loved
gotta
it.
go. I gotta go too. Before last thing I want to say
Yeah,
really
sure.
quickly to everybody is one time when I was laying in bed and I was having an argument with the boss and I was saying, I can't believe anything because we just get lied to about everything. I just don't believe anything anymore. And he said to me, Kimberly, there's only one universal truth, and that is love.
Oh,
Love is the only thing that is true, that you can believe 100%, no matter what is a lie or what is thrown in our face day after day, whether it's lies about religion, lie about this, lie about that. The one thing you can count on is love is the real thing, because God is love. God is love, and I am that I am is the frequency of love. And love is the one thing that we can always count on no matter what, that
mm,
permeates our heart, our soul, our body. It permeates everything. Love permeates everything in this universe.
right. And honestly, the details matter less. When you're in a
Mm-hmm.
state of love, you're like, I don't even need to know the details anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so, what all you need to do, everybody who's watching this video, stop going to this state of hate and judgment and pointing fingers and saying this group of people's bad, that group of people's bad. Instead, start working on your personal relationship with Creator, with our God.
Amen. Amen.
That, and work on love. Just be love. Just love yourself, love your family, love your
Oh,
neighbors,
Kimberly, can I
love
show
everything.
my book?
Sure.
I wrote a book on
Yep.
developing spiritual intimacy,
Yep.
being in a love affair with God, my own path, my own journey to that I cultivated my own unique relationship with God. It's called The Center of All Things. It's on Amazon. And I think it really, whoever would read that book, their frequency would rise. Like if you're looking to get your frequency elevated to a special interface with God, I think my book could help with you with that. So I just wanted to
Well,
plug my own book.
I read your book. We remember you
Oh,
sent it to me,
yeah, thank you.
and it's excellent. It's a
Thank
wonderful
you.
book.
Thank you.
So I agree with her. You know, it's a really good book to help you learn how to focus on God, because realistically, the only way we're all going to make it through the ascension is A, working together as a team instead of tearing each other down and fighting and arguing. We need to come together. And B, we need to have a personal relationship with God, each and every one of us. And you need to nurture that every single
It
day.
is your best protection.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, that being said, Gila, I am going to post your YouTube because I know they've taken you down in the past and they've shut you down all over the place. But I'm going to post all your links.
Oh, thank you. I'll send you my new channel that I'm just starting to build up again.
Yeah, send me everything. I
Thank you.
will post it all in the description. And thank
Thank
you so
you.
much for being on my show. I totally love and appreciate you, and everybody who's watching. We love and appreciate you. Thank you for supporting this channel. And if this was good, if you like this info, please like and share this with anyone you feel it would be helpful for or beneficial for. And we will see you next time.
Thank you so much. Mwah.